Okay. All right. Good afternoon, everyone. We are here at Cal Poly Humboldt in Arcata,
Hey,
California.
my name is Rick Toledo. I'm an organizer with Students for Democratic Society Humboldt here on campus.
Was a march and some activism that took place today on campus. Can you tell us how that went? How many people turned out? Was there any counter protest, anything like that happening?
Sure, yeah. No counter protests. We had nothing like that today, which was great. It was more than a protest, it was also a vigil. We spent most of the time mourning the lives lost of Palestinians since the escalation of the genocide by Israel against Palestinians on October 7th. And we view any kind of resistance as something that's organic in the face of a settler colonial occupation that's been making Palestinians suffer, bombing them indiscriminately, starving them since the Nakba. This has been going on for a very long time now. So most of the day was that, and it was a very beautiful time where we honored lives lost. And then we moved into a march, and we kind of rallied people up. We had a speaker from Jewish Voice for Peace National. We had a speaker from our organization, SDS Humboldt, and from the California Faculty Association, and even from Students for Quality Education. All of these organizations came together to have a great event today. We had a march around campus. We took over the streets for Palestine, and then we even made a final statement where we moved into the quad because we were told today that we weren't allowed to be in the quad, and we had every right to that space reservation because there were no conflicts, and the administration manufactured a conflict and tried to force us out. So we wanted to make a final statement that we have a right to be there. Students have a right to speak up for their free speech and assembly rights, and we have a right to stand with Palestine.
And when you say the quad, you're talking about that space directly behind you?
Yes,
Okay.
exactly.
Yeah, and this is where we see, oftentimes student groups, even impromptu, people will be out here doing various things, right?
Yeah.
For causes or just for fun sometimes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's one of the most public spaces in the university. It's supposed to be like a free speech space, but they still manage to try to restrict our free speech in the space whenever we want to talk about Palestine, it seems. And that's a sticking point for us. So a big part of our message today, obviously the biggest part is, remember the lives lost, stand with Palestine while they're being forced into starvation and bombing and genocide. And to continue to push for divestment, to continue to push for the U.S. to stop funding Israel's genocide, but also to push for free speech on campus and to defend our rights to stand with Palestine on campus. Because we shouldn't be able to be told that this is or isn't a free speech zone. This is a public university, and we believe that this is a huge infringement on our rights
And
as
that's
students and people.
part of the kind of revised time, place, and manner policy, right?
Yes.
Which we have to note was revised because of activism related to Palestine, wherein people will remember the bonk and Siemens Hall being transformed briefly into Intifada Hall.
Sure.
And that was kind of a precursor to Hins Hall, actually. Time, place, and manner has been modified to sort of corral people for various causes into different sections. Permitted, probably, right? You've got to go through some hurdles to get that approved, quote unquote. Right? Can you talk about what that's like? And as a organization that frequently tackles controversial subject matter, what do you have to deal with?
Sure, yeah. We've seen a huge increase in crackdowns on free speech since then. And it's clear, that order came from the governor to tighten grip and strengthen the time, place, and manner policies. And it was to the CSUs and the UCs. And it wasn't just here. These orders were happening all over the country in response to the encampment movement. And why it happened is because that movement made people in power afraid. It sent a message to them that we have the power and that we can stand up and that we can push back against their genocide and we can say no more. We can stop business as usual. And they wanted to shut that down as quickly as possible. They wanted to create kind of a chilling effect on campuses that's really, I think it's stopped a lot of activism. It has been successful. And right now, we're sick of that. And we're trying to stand back up and say, SDS isn't going to take that anymore, that we're done with it. We're not going to allow them to silence free speech anymore, especially about a people being genocided. And we're going to push back against time, place, and manner. And we're going to push back because we have a right to free speech and assembly, and Palestine needs us. And Palestinians have made it clear that they want us to escalate for Palestine. And it's because they have no other option, right? I want to make that clear. They have no other option. Nothing is being done. We've tried everything. So when we think of the encampment movement, that was a moment of desperation where people wanted to do something big because all other avenues have failed. And we're at that point even more so now, where when all of our avenues to help people, to stop genocide have failed, what are we left to do? And I want to center the resistance as well. What were they left to do when their land was stolen, their houses bombed, their towns burned down? What were they left to do? Yeah, I mean, all people who are under occupation or who are being, who have, especially having a genocide committed against them, or under apartheid, or under any kind of sufficient oppression, have a right to resist that oppression. They have a right to self-determination and to their own freedom. And that's at the heart of the right to resist. When you have no other avenues and all avenues are exhausted, when you've tried the peaceful routes, when you've tried everything else, then you must have a right to resistance. Because otherwise, what's left? To allow your people to be exterminated, to allow them to keep suffering? You're given no other avenues, and Palestinians have a right to resist.
Anything else you want to add?
I think I want to add that, we're seeing increased repression here on campus, and we're seeing it all around the country, and I want to encourage people to stand up wherever they're at and push back against that repression, because repression and oppression, they don't go away on their own. It's not something that you can silently wait out. It's not something that you can vote out. It's something that you have to stand up and take a stand against. And when we have Palestinians who don't have a choice in the matter, when we have Palestinians who are having their families slaughtered, what's it to us to stand up and do something about it? We have a responsibility when our tax dollars are funding it. Every single one of us. We are complicit if we don't stand up and fight back. So I encourage all people everywhere to not be deterred, to not be afraid, to stand up and push back against Trump, to push back against his administrations, to push back against every single force that tries to silence our activism for free speech and for Palestine.
Okay, thank you, Rick Toledo. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Occupied. When people are occupied. Resistance is justified. Resistance is justified. When people are occupied.